Karen A., would you mind sharing with everyone and me too, kind of what would you say is one or two of the biggest challenges you've had to
Mhm,
overcome on this journey of badassery?
mhm. Yeah, well, I had one really huge disruption in my life, and I got married in college, and we had both of our children before we graduated.
Oh,
And actually, my husband had a 4-year-old child when we got married, so we had three
wow.
before we got out of college. And yeah, they go
That's a
through
challenge
process.
right there.
That's a challenge right there, but it worked out and completely unplanned, but it worked out. And 26 years later, he passed unexpectedly. Had a
Your
heart attack.
husband.
Yeah, had a heart attack and came home from work and he was gone. And so that changed everything
Hmm.
in my life after 26 years,
I'm
um,
so
it just
sorry.
changed everything. And I had just started a new job.
Hmm.
And every decision that I made, every thought that I had, every drive that I took was impacted because our unit was so close.
Yeah.
Kids, our husband,
Yeah.
so close, so close. We did a lot of stuff together,
Mm.
ministry and traveling, and so all of a sudden, you know,
Yeah.
one of that unit is gone. And
And
for
you had
anybody
no
that's
idea it was
lost,
coming.
yeah, and with no idea that it was coming. And so anybody that's listening to this that's had that type of disruption can attest. It takes a minute to
Of course.
get back and figure out, okay, so now who am I? Now who
Mm.
am I? And how do I proceed?
Hmm.
And I was fortunate to work for a woman who had had a similar experience. And
Wow.
she said, don't worry about the HR handbook that says you get, 3 days or
Oh God.
whatever, 5 days when your spouse dies.
No, is
It
that all
take
it is in corporate America?
Mhm.
You're joking.
No, and so I imagine most people probably take personal leave or,
Yeah.
whatever. But no, yeah, that's how it is. And
Oh,
she said, don't even worry about it. She said, come back when you want to come back.
oh, thank God for her.
Thank God. And I ended up staying off for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks maybe. I
Which is
think I might
still
have gone
not,
back after, it was still not, I think I might
still
have
not a
ended up
long
like,
time in
yeah,
the
no,
grand scheme of
for a
things.
life partner.
Right.
But that was gracious. That was very gracious. And I think I actually came back after 6 weeks and I just didn't feel ready. And she said, go back home. Go back
Mhm.
home. And I think I did go back home for a couple of weeks. But Jen, that was really, really hard. I had to figure out
Mhm.
just how I was going to proceed,
Of
in
course.
life.
And
And
missing him.
yeah. And I actually took breath work from my partner, Irina, last year and dealt with finally some of that, sadness and, you move on, but I finally dealt with some of that missingness.
The stuff that was still locked in the body a
Mhm,
bit.
mhm, 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 mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's difficult for
Well,
anybody.
that's, thank you for sharing that because one of the things that I ask everyone is how do we heal from these massive life takedowns? And for you, like, again, this was many years ago, right? How many?
Mhm. It was 12.
12 years ago, and you're still processing the grief left over, like you said, leftover grief that's
Mhm,
still in there deep down
mhm,
inside.
mhm.
So breath work is one of those tools that has really helped. What, anything else over the years?
You know, yeah, I will share. I haven't shared much, but actually I'm writing a book about
Oh,
this topic. My son and I are writing a book together, but yeah,
oh,
he was
nice.
incarcerated a few years ago. And it's one of those things when you're a professional, you feel like, well, I can't tell anybody that.
Hmm.
I can't talk, but there's a lot of professionals who
Hmm.
have this situation. Well, the book that my son and I are writing it's called Pros and Cons,
Oh, I love that's
Professionals and
perfect.
Convicts.
Oh gosh. Is there any literary agents listening right now? Because you need this. You need to get on this.
But it's really, I'm writing it so that people like me, men and women, can feel like, you know what, it's another part of life. It's something that, happened. I don't have to, feel like
Shame and
it's yeah. It's, I mean, it's huge, stigma
yep.
in a corporate environment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
Excellent.
but that was hard. That was hard. That was really, 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 really hard.
I bet.
Um,
Would you say that writing has helped you process
mm,
it as one of
mhm,
those
mhm.
tools?
Yeah,
Mm.
I would say so. And my son and I are very, very close. So it's also something that, is therapeutic for both of
Mm.
us to, work through this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but the message for anybody listening that's, has a situation with a son or a daughter or just a family member is, life happens and they're, don't feel alone. Don't feel alone because look at all the people in prison. There are somebody's kids.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Absolutely.
parents of all of those folks in prison. You're not alone. Doesn't mean you have to hide or
Mm-hmm.
feel like, life is over. Life is over. And
Completely.
in fact, some very good things have actually come out of this situation. And I'm a person that believes that all things will work together for the good of those who love God as called according to his purpose, whoever your God, whoever your
Mm-hmm.
highest powered universe, if you are aligned, things will work out.
Mm.
They'll work,
Yes.
they'll
Thank
work out.
you.
And it's hard to believe of, but this universe is huge and our lives are, they're a drop in the bucket, but they're also, however long you live, every second, every minute, every hour is an opportunity to experience something new, do something different, meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, change a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we just have to remember in the midst of a serious issue or problem, it will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back on your life and the things that you've been through and the grit that you've developed, you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably be okay.